You need your rain. Okay. Is that... I'm not gonna be gaslit into thinking that my audio is fine again today. So, how are we sounding? Do I need to turn the rain down? Do I need to turn me up? How does this sound, everybody? If I can have input, please. And don't sit there and be like, it's just me, it's just my audio issues. No. Everyone is hearing the same thing. So, what do I need? Anything? Do I need any change at all? This isn't really a new outfit, Ton. I've worn this before. You just haven't been here. Oh, also my hydrates. Let me hydrate. A little louder on me, and the rain turned down, or... Like... Okay, I increased my mic's gain. I don't know, is that too loud? How is that? Rain is good. I turned myself up. How are we feeling? I swapped my OBS. It still could be louder. I'll turn myself up in OBS. Hold on. Okay. I turned it up like a whole decibel, I think. How is that? Still too quiet, or what are we thinking? And yay, IDK, yay! This is good. Now, do you mean it? If we go to watch the VOD back, is it actually gonna sound good? That's the hope. Yeah, I don't know. Do you mean it? I don't know. Anybody else have any input? Otherwise, we're going with what Ton says. You think it's fine. Okay. Works for me. One more. Do a loud test? No. Oh, tap the mic. No. I think that's gonna be way too loud. I don't want to tap the mic. No one's sleeping. Yell, absolutely not. Look, I have my pop filter above my microphone, which actually, let me adjust that real quick. Okay, it's adjusted. So I have my pop filter above my microphone so that, my pop, so that my P's and B's and such aren't as bad. Should have been muted. Yeah, I muted just to fix my pop filter. There's no way to test it if I'm not muted. Test the audio to something? Okay, sure, go for it. If I were to tap the mic and not the pop filter, I'm so scared. That's me tapping the mic. But I don't even know if that's in the right location, because I think the Blue Yeti... That was me accidentally hitting the pop filter. I think the Blue Yeti, its sound comes from the front of the mic rather than the top of the mic. They would be twice as loud right now. I don't know how to fix that, because on gaming streams I don't change anything and I sound just fine. I think it's the fact that I plug my in-ears in and then it completely changes the settings. But I have my volume all the way max from what happens with the in-ears. So the only thing from there to adjust is my gain. But if I turn my gain up, then it hurts my ears with my in-ears. It hurts way too bad, because then it's so loud. I'm so loud now. I'm so loud. Ow. I'm so freaking loud. So then in that instance, can I turn down my in-ears? Okay, so Now, I've turned down my volume knob on the microphone, but I turned but I turned the gain up on the microphone, so even more clear. Whoa. So how is this little balance? This is better. Okay, interesting. I'm barely louder than the 400% volume increase. Well, I mean, it is ASMR. Okay, do I need to increase it even more than you think? Do I need to turn the gain up more? Or are we rocking with it? I'm down to do more. You are a little over halfway on the gain dial. It's on the back of the microphone, which is why I keep losing tracking. I have to like bend over and look under the mic. It sounds good to you? Okay, perfect. Good to hear, Mop. Thank you. Anyone else? I'm drum rolling. It's hard to be quiet when drum rolling. Frick. I don't think I can keep going. I could be loud. When you use gain, you put it to like 60 to 80%. Interesting. I'm just definitely still learning with this microphone. I didn't know that adjusting the volume on the front doesn't adjust it for you guys, because with my HyperX it did, you know? Oh, okay, Dawn, interesting. Where do you tend to have the volume dial? Do you have it in ears? I switched. Freaking nice. Twitch and OBS. I'm gonna switch those back. I'm so used to OBS being up top. Oh, who just went live? I don't know. But their alert is, if you know me, no you don't. Well, good to know. I'll keep that in mind. I don't know you. Okay, there we go. I'm swapped. I like that much better. Okay. Yeah, like 70%. Yeah, I would say I'm relatively the same. I think I'm pretty much at the same settings as you are then right now. This is good, but you have me on 100% through 3 different ways? What? Oh my god, Ben, so I don't know what any of that means though. I don't see a way, like on the mic itself, to for decibel levels. Like, what is 5 makeup gain? I don't know. Things to learn all the time. But the good news is, hopefully, we'll get this right here, right now with this stream. Yes, unintentionally I will ignore that because I just don't know how to apply that to my situation. But, hi Chuma, welcome in. But, oh frick, what was I saying? Oh, hopefully we'll figure this out right here, right now, and then we'll be good and set for the next ASMR streams. And we won't have audio issues anymore. Yay! Hi, Dylan! Welcome. You'll say if you liked how loud what I did. I think the audio that you ended up doing was pretty good. So it's equal to that. Hi, Dylan! How is my audio? We are currently working on fixing my audio so it's not quiet. If I could have an input, that'd be fantastic. Please and thank you. But it looks like generally this is working, so I will keep it at this. I would just hate for you guys to have me turned up so loud, and then like we raid into somebody, and then because my audio levels are off, the raid is super loud for how you've got your computer. You can hear me fine? Okay, perfect. Sweet, let's freaking go. Yeah. Ain't nobody gonna steal my girl. I was listening to Spotify. Dawn. Oh my god, wait. Faye emotes now on Twitch cause she's affiliate. Wait, Faye emotes on Twitch. Wait. Yes, Faye emotes on Twitch. Baldy! Hey! I love it, I love it. Hi, Big Tam. Yeah, IDK. You're a mad lad. That's my name now. Daler. Don't you know? Yeah, look, I do give a fuck. Thank you. They're my PJs. They're my PJs. It's a rainy day today, so I figured let's wear some PJs for the rain. Thank you. But I think we've got audio figured out, so I think we're good to start reading. As my stream title says, we have 6 chapters left. Will I finish tonight, or will I finish tomorrow? That is the question. We will, just one line. Yeah, you guys are gonna distract. We'll never get to start. Oh, that's funny. But no, I'm gonna focus. I'm gonna lock in. Okay. Okay, this is chapter 29, I think. Hold on, let me see what the next Roman numerals. Yes, this is chapter 29. Okay, let's do this. We got it. I had a good day. I hope you had a good one too, Big Damn. Thanks. The luring of the people of the marshes. As the evening that followed was beginning to fade, a traveler might have been seen approaching the marshes, which some way... Hi, Chris. Thank you so much for the follow. Good evening. Welcome in. Actually, thank you for following me. I forgot I wasn't holding my book. Hi, Hitmanic. Hello. Welcome in. You're gonna fall asleep? I hope you have a good sleep. Oh, thanks for the bits, Hitmanic. Thank you. I'll just restart it again. As the evening that followed was beginning to fade, a traveler might have been seen approaching the marshes, which some way southeastwards of Earl lay along the ledge. Lay along the edge of the farmsteads and stretched their terrible waste as far as the skyline, and even over the border and into the region of Elfland. They glimmered now as the light was leaving the land. Thank you, Am. Good night, good night. So black were the solemn clothes and the high grave hat of the traveller that he could have been seen from far against the dim green of the fields, going down to the edge of the marsh through the grey evening. But none were there to see at such an hour beside that desolate place, for the threat of darkness was already felt in the fields, and all of the cows were home, and the farmers warm in their houses. So the traveller walked alone. Who would this be? I'm confused. And soon he was come by unsure paths to the reeds and the thin rushes, to which a wind was telling tales that have no meaning to man, long histories of bleakness and ancient legends of rain, while on the high darkening land far off beneath him he saw lights begin to blink where the houses were. He walked with gravity and the solemn air. Hi, Kirby. Yes, a bedtime story. And thank you for the bits, Ton. Who are these thighs from? OMG. Ex-Tawny. Okay. Oh, look at her model. She's got split hair. Sweet. So cool. Thanks for those thighs. Hi, Buckle Suckle. Welcome. Good evening. Okay. He walked with the gravity and the solemn air of one who was important business with men, yet his back was turned to their houses as he went where no man wandered, traveling towards no hamlet. Thank you for the follow, Kirby. Thank you so much. Towards no hamlet or lonely cottage of man, for the marsh right, for the marsh ran right into Elfland. Between him and the nebulous border that divides Earth from Elfland, there was no man whatever, and yet the traveler walked on as one that has a grave errand. With every... Oh my god, that's a straight up butt. Whoa, is that from... No, it's a different person. Wait, I don't even know what this person looks like, because when you click their name, it's just a bunch of different emotes like Stardew Valleys and Pokemon. What? I wonder what they look like. Oh my god, more! Thank you. Thank you, IDK, for the bits. Thank you, Manic, for the bits. So nice. And you never use bits. Well, I mean, it's fun for the big emotes like that. It's funny. Who's this from? Aunt BL. Okay, great. Oh, Aunt Blazer. I see. Aunt Blazer. She's cool. I like her color scheme. It works really well. It's cute. Yeah. We're getting everything tonight. With every venerable step that he took, bright mosses shook, and the marsh seemed about to engulf him, while his worthy staff sank deep into slime, giving him no support. And yet the traveler seemed only to care for the solemnity of his pacing. Thus he went on over the deadly marsh, with a deportment suitable to the slow procession when the elders open the market on special days, and the gravest blesses the bargaining, and all of the farmers come to the booths and barter. And up and down, songbirds went wavering home, skirting the marsh's edge on their way to their native hedges. Pigeons passed landward to roost in high, dark trees. The last of the multitude of rooks was gone, and all of the air was empty. And now the great marsh thrilled to the news of the coming of a stranger, for no sooner had the traveler gravely set a foot on one of those brilliant mosses that bloom in the pools, than a thrill shot under their roots and below the stems of the bulrushes, and ran. Hi. Do you want me to... I wonder if... Oh, I've got to move my alert, because I moved my manifest. Is it just FYEXJ? Thank you so much for the follow. Hello, welcome in. While we're here, let me move that alert down real quick. Alert. It's actually gonna go, I think, down here. Perfect. Thank you for the alert, Kirby. Have a good night. Okay. Then a thrill shot under their roots and below the stems of the bulrushes, and ran like a light beneath the surface of the water, or like the sound of a song, and passed far over the marshes, and came quivering to the border of magical twilight that divides Elfland from Earth, and stayed not there, but troubled the very border, and passed beyond it, and was felt in Elfland. For where the great marshes run down to the border of Earth, the frontier is thinner, and is thinner and more uncertain than elsewhere. I love scams, they're so funny. Thank you for the alert, Todd. Have a good night. Okay, good luck with your work. Oh, you're still here? Okay. And as soon as they felt that thrill in the deep of the marshes, the will-o'-the-wisps soared up from their fathomless homes, will-o'-wisps, and waved their lights to beacon the traveler on, over the quaking mosses at the hour when the duck were fighting. And under that whir and rush and rejoicing of wings that the ducks made in that hour, the traveler followed after the waving lights, further and further into the marshes. Yet sometimes he turned from them, so that for a while they followed him, instead of leading as they were accustomed to do, till they could get round in front of him and lead him once more. A watcher, if there had been one in such bad light, and in such a perilous place, had noticed after a while, in the venerable traveller's movements, a queer resemblance to those of the hen green plover when she lures the stranger after her in spring, away from the mossy bank where her eggs lie bare. Or perhaps such a resemblance is merely fanciful, and a watcher might have noticed no such thing. At any rate, on that night, in the desolate place, there was no watcher whatever. Oh, thank you so much, Zero. Is that how you pronounce it? Like the number? 0? That's a very, very sweet message. Thank you so much. It's nice to meet you as well. And the traveler followed his curious course, sometimes towards the dangerous mosses, sometimes towards the safe Greenland, always with grave demeanor and reverent gait, and the will-o'-the-wisps in multitudes gathered around him, and still that deep thrill that warned the marshes of a stranger throbbed on through the ooze below the roots of the rushes, and did not cease, as it should, as soon as the stranger was dead, but haunted the marsh like some echo of music that magic has made everlasting, and troubled the will-o'-the-wisps even over the border of Elfland. It's Shiro. Oh, okay, I'll remember that. Shiro. I get you. Now it is far from my intention to write anything detrimental to the will-o'-wisps, or anything that may be construed as being a slight upon them. No such construction should be put upon my writings, but it is well known that the people of the marshes lure travelers to their doom. Oh no, and have delighted to follow that avocation for centuries, and I may be permitted to mention this in no spirit of disapproval. Oh no, I know will-o'-wisps are not really a good thing, but they're gonna kill him. They're gonna kill this poor man. The will-o'-the-wisps, then, that were about this traveler, redoubled their efforts with fury, and when still he eluded their last enticements, good for this dude, he's ignoring them, only on the very edge of the deadliest pools, and still lived and still traveled, and the whole marsh knew of it. Then the greater will-o'-the-wisps that dwell in Elfland rose up, oh no, from their magical mire and rushed over the border, and the whole marsh was troubled. Oh no, I'm so scared. Oh no, this is not gonna be good. Uh-oh. How are we doing for you guys? 39% gonna walk the plank, that's not bad. 88% chance you're my favorite. Hey, that's pretty good. Oh, and you lived your shark attack. Oh, but Benzo died. Oh no. And Shiro, 85%. Oh, thank you for the head pats, Mom. Thank you so much. Ooh, 87%. Oh, Shiro, no. I'm gonna see if this poor dude lives. Oops. I'll get there later. Does the traveler in my story live? Leaning towards no. Oh no. Well, I don't think he would be the focus of our story if he's gonna die. Just saying. I'm sorry, Benzo. Oh no, Agado, you died to the shark. Oh no. Shiro, you can stay. It's only 87% chance. It's only 87. That's not 100. You can stay, I promise. Almost like little moons, grown nimbly impudent, the people of the marshes glowed before the solemn traveler, leading his reverent steps to the edge of death, only to retrace their steps again to beckon him back once more. And then, in spite of the great height of his hat and the dark length of his coat, that frivolous people began to perceive that mosses were bearing his weight, which never before had supported any traveler. At this their fury increased, and they all leaped nearer to him, and nearer they flocked wherever he went, and in their fury their enticements were losing their craftiness. No, okay. You actually jumped in at chapter 29? We have been reading this book for a month. I think we're gonna finish it tonight, but it all depends on how fast I read it. But yes, it is The King of Elfland's Daughter. It is a high fantasy book written in like 1927 or something. Very, very old. And that was my wrist. I don't know why my wrist just cracked. So silly. Yes, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed we finished it today. Yes. You're not the first person to read it wrong, which makes me laugh. I didn't mean to make it confusing. And now, a watcher in the marshes, if such there had been, had seen something more than a traveler surrounded by will-o'-the-wisps, for he might have noticed that the traveler was almost leading them, instead of the will-o'-the-wisps leading the traveler, and in their impatience to have him dead, the people of the marshes had never thought that they were all coming nearer and nearer to the dry land. Oh no! And when all was dark but the water, they suddenly found themselves in a field of grass, with their feet rasping against the rough pasture, while the traveler was seated with his knees gathered up to his chin, and was eyeing them from under the brim of his high black hat. Never before had any of them been lured to dry land by traveler, and there were amongst them that night those eldest and greatest amongst them who had come with their moon-like lights right over the border from Elfland. They looked at each other in uneasy astonishment as they dropped limply onto the grass, for the roughness and heaviness of the solid land oppressed them after the marshes. And then they began to perceive that venerable traveler, whose bright eyes watched them so keenly out of that black mass of clothes, was no larger than they were themselves, in spite of his reverend airs. Indeed, though stouter and rounder, he was not quite so tall. Who was this? They began to mutter. Who had lured the will-o'-the-wisps? And some of those elders from Elfland went up to him as they might ask him with what audacity he had dared to lure such as them. And then the traveler spoke. Without rising or turning his head, he spoke where he sat. Hi, Godhunter. Good evening. I'm good. How are you? People of the marshes, he said, do you love unicorns? And at the word unicorns, scorn and laughter filled every tiny heart in all of that frivolous multitude, excluding all other emotions, so that they forgot their petulance and having been lured, although to lure will-o'-the-wisps is held by them to be the gravest of insults, and never would they have forgiven it if they had longer memories. Okay, so they've got short-term memory loss. Okay. Hi, Hala. Good evening. Welcome in. How are you today? You're okay. What? Oh my god, Godhunter, I'm so sorry. Was it... you don't have to tell me, but was it natural, or... That sucks. I'm very, very, very sorry to hear. That is so sad. Oh, I'm that you're able to celebrate their memory, and that you're able to get through this tough time, and that it was natural. Okay, yeah. That sucks. That sucks so much. I'm so sorry. But that obviously mourn right now, but that the mourning is ease and not as rough, and that soon enough you're able to actually start, enjoying the memory of them rather than hurt. I'm very, very, very sorry to hear. That's so sad. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm very unfortunate. It's like, how do I get back to reading? I feel bad. I don't want to. Hi, Holla. Thank you for the follow. I don't. Suspicious. Hey, Mother Trucker. I don't want to go back to reading and diminish it. Okay. I am very, very, very sorry for your loss. That sucks. I'm so sorry. Okay. I'll try and distract you. How about that? I'll distract you with the story. We should hopefully reach the end of the book, so I don't know. Hopefully it'll really pick up, Yeah. At the word unicorns, they all giggled in silence, and this they did by flickering up and down like the light of a little mirror flashed by an impudent hand. Unicorns! Little love they had for the haughty creatures. Let them learn to speak to the people of the marshes when they came to drink at their pools. Let them learn to give their due to the great lights of Elfland and the lesser lights that illuminated the marshes of earth. No, said an elder of the Will-o'-the-Wisps. None loves the proud unicorns. Come then, said the traveler, and we will hunt them. And you shall light us in the night with your lights when we hunt them with dogs over the fields of men. Okay, so, my guess was that it was Orion the moment they said that he was tiny. I figured it was Orion, but Orion's 16 now. He should be a pretty grown teenager. Oh, Hollow, are you okay? Are you alright? Is everything okay? Oh, so much that I'm like, oh no, I don't want to read and diminish. I'm so sorry, everybody. Oh. Hoi, 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 hoi. Yes, okay. Venerable traveler, said the elder Will-o'-the-Wisp, but at those words the traveler flung up his hat and leaped from his long black coat and stood before the Will-o'-the-Wisps stark naked. And the people of the marshes saw that it was a troll. Okay, who had tricked them. Okay, I don't think trolls, okay, yeah, I don't think trolls wear clothing, so. Their anger at this was slight, for the people of the marshes had tricked the trolls, and the trolls have tricked the people of the marshes, each of them so many times, for ages and ages, that only the wisest among them can say which has tricked the other most, and is how many tricks ahead. They consoled themselves now. Thank you for the lurk, I saw this right now. Consoled themselves now by thinking of times when trolls had been made to look ludicrous, and consented to come with their lights to help hunt unicorns, for their wills were weak when they stood on the dry land, and they easily acquiesced in any suggestion or followed anyone's whim. It was the Rulu, yeah, who had thus tricked the Will-o'-the-Wisps, knowing well how they love to lure travelers, and having obtained the highest hat and gravest coat he could steal, he had set out with a bait that he knew would bring them from great distances. Now that he had gathered them all on the solid land, and had their promise of light and help against unicorns, which such creatures give easily on account of the unicorn's pride, he began to lead them away to the village of Earl, slowly at first, while their feet grew accustomed to the hard land, and over the fields he brought them limping to Earl. And now there was nothing in all of the marshes that at all resembled man, and the geese came down on a huge tumult of wings. The little swift teal shot home, and all of the dark air twanged with the flight of the duck. Well, thank you, Hollow. Yes, hi, Lacho. Bedtime story. The trolls trick the people, and the people trick the trolls. Yeah, for real. Thank you for the head pats at Manning. Thank you. Okay, chapter 30. 5 chapters to go. Let's go, we're getting there. The coming of too much magic. Uh-oh. In Earl, that had sighed for magic, there was indeed magic now. The pigeon loft and old lumber lofts over stables were all full of trolls. The ways were full of their antics, and lights bobbed up and down the street at night, long after traffic was home. For the will-o'-the-wisps would go dancing along the gutters, and had made their homes round the soft edges of duck ponds, and in green-black patches of moss that grew upon oldest thatch. And nothing seemed the same in the old village. And amongst all of these magical folk, the magical half of Orion's blood, that had slept while he went amongst earthly men, hearing mundane talk each day, stirred out of its sleep and awakened long sleeping thoughts in his brain, and the elfin horns that he had often heard blowing at evening blew with a meaning now, and blew stronger as though they were nearer. I'm trying to remember, we last left off with Alveric getting that enchantment for his sword so that it would no longer be full of magic. He got it from Zerondorol, but then the two guys that were with him, they dragged him back as soon as they reached Elfland, this thing they were searching for like 12 years. And then that's the last thing I remember in terms of like the Elfland set. Yeah, all Derek. Yes. That's the last thing I remember for that, so I don't know what it means by they were coming nearer. I'm not certain. The folk of the village, watching their lord by day, saw his eyes turned away towards Elfland, saw him neglecting the wholesome earthly cares, and at night there came the queer lights and the gibbering of the trolls. A fear settled on Earl. At this time, the Parliament took counsel again. 12 grey-beard, quaking men that had come to the house of Gnarl when their work was ended at evening, and all of the evening was weird with the new magic of Elfland. Every man of them, as he ran from his own... Oh, hi Kenneth Cole, thank you so much for the follow, good evening. Yes, every man of them, as he ran... Hello, how are you? As he ran from his own warm house on the way to the Forge of Gnarl, had seen lights leaping or heard voices gibbering, which were of no Christum land, and some had seen shapes prowling with which of no earthly growing, and they feared that all manner of things had slipped through the border of Elfland to come and visit the trolls. They spoke low in their parliament, all told the same tale, a tale of children terrified, a tale of women demanding the old ways again, and as they spoke, they eyed window and crevice, none knowing what might come. And all said, "Let us folk go to the Lord Orion as we went to his grandfather in his long red room. Let us say how we sought for magic, and lo, we have magic enough, and let him follow no more after witchery, nor things that are hidden from men." He listened acutely, standing there amongst his hushed comrade neighbors. Was it goblin voices that mocked him, or was it only echo? Who could say? And almost at once, the night all round was hushed again. No, you lost your seaweed. And Thrall said, Nay, it is too late for that. Thrall had seen their lord one evening standing alone on the downs, all motionless and listening to something sounding from Elfland. With his eyes to the east as he listened, and nothing was sounding, not a noise was astir, yet Orion stood there, called by things beyond mortal hearing. It is too late now, said Thrall, and that was the fear of all. Then Giwick rose slowly up and stood by that table, and trolls were gibbering like bats away in their loft, and the pale marsh lights were flickering, and shapes proud in the dark. The pit-pat of their feet came now and then to the ears of the 12 that were there in the inner room, and Giwick said, We wished for a little magic. And a gust of gibbering came clear from the trolls, and then they disputed a while as to how much magic they had wished in the olden time when the grandfather of Orion was lord and earl. But when they came to a plan, this was the plan of Giwick. If we may not turn our lord Orion, he said, and his eyes be turned to Elfland, let all of our parliament go up the hill to the witch Zoranderol, and put our case to her, and ask for a spell which shall be put against too much magic. And at the name of Zoranderol, the 12 took heart again, for they knew that her magic was greater than the magic of flickering lights, and knew there was not a troll or thing of the night but went in fear of her broom. They took heart again, and quaffed Gnarl's heavy mead, and refilled their mugs, and praised Giwick. And late in the night they all rose up together to go back to their homes, and all kept close together as they went, and sang grave old songs to affright the things that they had feared, though little the light trolls care, or the will-o'-the-wisps, for the things that are grave to man. And when only one was left, he ran to his house, and the will-o'-the-wisps chased him. When the next day came, they ended their work early, for the Parliament of Earl cared not to be left on the Witch's Hill. When night came, or even the gloaming, they met outside Gnarl's forge in the early afternoon, 11 of the Parliament, and they called out Gnarl, and all were wearing the clothes that they were wont to wear when they went with the rest to the holy place of the Freer, though there was scarcely a soul he had ever cursed that was not blessed by her. And away they went with their old stout staves up the hill. And as soon as they could, they came to the witch's house, and there they found her sitting outside her door, gazing over the valley away, and looking neither older nor younger, nor concerned one way or the other with the coming and going of years. We be the Parliament of Earl, they said, standing before her in all of their graver clothes. Aye, she said, you desired magic. Has it come to you yet? Truly, they said, and to spare. There is more to come, she said. Mother Witch, said Gnarl, we are met here to pray you that you will give us a goodly spell, which shall be a charm against magic, so that there be no more of it in the valley, for overmuch has come. Overmuch, she said, overmuch magic, as though magic were not the spice and essence of life, its ornament and its splendor. By my broom, said she, I give you no spell against magic. And they thought of the wandering lights and the scarce seen gibbering things. Overmuch, yeah. And all of the strangeness and evil that was come to their valley of Earl, and they besought her again, speaking suavely to her. Oh, Mother Witch, said Giwick, there is overmuch magic indeed, and the folk that should tarry in Elfland are all over the border. Hi, Booba. Good. Smelly wet dog. That's a good one. That's a good name. Thank you very, 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 very much for the gifted sub. It's so nice. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you very much. I'm gonna put you in the board. Oh, noises. Oh, noises. Oi, 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 oi. Is that slot one? Is that good? Does that need to be larger? What if I... Is it Alt? No, I think it's Shift. Boba sweat. Nice and big. That it? There's... Yeah, I think that looks good. Thank you, Booba. Thank you very, very much. No spell indeed. Nope. That's not where we're at. I skipped a paragraph. It is even so, said Gnarl. The border is broken, and there will be no end to it. Will-o'-the-wisps should stay in the marshes, and trolls and goblins in Elfland, and we folk should keep to our own folk. This is the thought of us all. For magic, if we desired it somewhat, years ago, when we were young, pertains to matters that are not for man. She eyed him silently, with a cat-like glow increasing in her eyes, and when she neither spoke nor moved, Gnarl besought her again. It's reading. You're very close. I will do it for you, I got you. It is actually reading, but it is the King of Elfland's daughter. So that's what I'm reading. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. Oh, and thank you for the follow. How do I pronounce your name? Is it D-Pivmo, potentially? Like the Pivmo is together and then it's just the letter D? Oh, Mother Witch, he said, will you give us no spell to guard our homes against magic? No spell indeed, she hissed. No spell indeed. By broom and stars and night riding, would you rob Earth of her heirloom? Did she come from the olden time? Would you take her treasure and leave her bare to the scorn of her comrade planets? Poor indeed were we without magic, whereof we are well stored to the envy of darkness and space. She leaned forward from where she sat and stamped her stick, looking up in Gnarl's face with her fierce, unwavering eyes. I would sooner, she said, give you a spell against water, that all the world should thirst, than give you a spell against the song of streams that evening hears faintly over the ridge of a hill, too dim for wakeful ears. A song threading through dreams, whereby we learn of old wars and lost loves and the spirits of rivers. I would soon give you a spell against bread, that all of the world should starve, than give you a spell against the magic of wheat that haunts the golden hollows in moonlight in July, through which in the warm, short nights wander how many of whom man knows nothing. I would make you spells against comfort and clothing, food, shelter, and warmth. I, and will do it, sooner than tear from these poor fields of earth that magic that is to them an ample cloak against the chill of space, and a gay raiment against the sneers of nothingness. Dang, she was ranting. Hi, Mr. Manager. Welcome in. Gerondrel was not having it. Go hence to your village, go. And you that sought for magic in your youth, but desire it not in your age, know that there is a blindness of spirit which comes from age, more black than the blindness of eye, making a darkness about you across which nothing may be seen, or felt, or known, or in any way apprehended, and no voice out of that darkness shall conjure me to grant a spell against magic. Hence. Hi. Oh, wait, Shiro, did you not follow me earlier? I thought you had followed earlier. Well, thank you for the follow. I swear you followed me earlier, no? No, you didn't. Oh, you just said come in. Well, thank you for the follow, Shira. And as she said hence, she put her weight on her stick and was evidently preparing to rise from her seat. And at this great terror came upon all of the Parliament, and they noticed at the same moment that evening was drawing in, oof, and all of the valley darkening. They didn't want to be there at nighttime. On this high field where the witch's cabbages grew some light yet lingered, and listening to her fierce words, they had not thought of the hour, but now it was manifestly growing late, and a wind roamed past them that seemed to come over the ridges a little ways off from night, and chilled them as it passed, and all of the air seemed given over to that very thing against which they sought for a spell. And it's okay, it happens. And here they were at this hour with the witch before them, and she was evidently about to rise. Her eyes were fixed on them. Already she was partly up from her chair. There could be no doubt that before 3 moments were past, she would be hobbling amongst them with her glittering eyes peered into each one's face. They turned and ran down the hill. Yay, that's the end of that chapter. So silly. I'm going to voluntarily hydrate. Okie dokie. Chapter 31. The Cursing of Elfland Things. As the Parliament of Earl ran down the hill, they ran into the dusk of evening. Grayly it lay in the valley above the mist from the stream, but with more than the mystery of dusk, the air was heavy. Give me a second to readjust to my chair. Hello? Oh, thank you for that. Okay. Alright, now I'm unmuted again. Okay, great. Oh, that was weird. Okay. But with more than the mystery of dusk, the air was heavy. Lights blinking early from houses showed that all the folk were home, and the street was deserted by everything that was human, save when, with hushed air and almost furtive step, they saw their Lord Orion, always, like a tall shadow go by, with the will-o'-the-wisps behind him, towards the house of the trolls, thinking no earthly thoughts. And the strangeness that had been growing day by day made all of the village eerie, so that with short and troubled breath the 12 old men hurried on. And so they came to the holy place of the Freer, which lay on the side of the village that was towards the witch's hill, and it was the hour at which he was wont to celebrate after birdsong, as they named the singing that they sang in the holy place when all the birds were home. But the Freer was not within the holy place. He stood in the cold night air on the upper step without it, his face turned towards Elfland. Oh my god, what? He's looking at Elfland. He had on his sacred robe with its border of purple. Oh my god, hi everybody! Hello Raiders! Hi Sora May! Hello! Sora makes you bark? That's okay. We like barking over here. Woof, woof, woof. Woof, woof. Hi Sora! Hi everybody! I want to check out your model. What were you doing? It's an ASMR. Let's go. Sora, how was your stream? Thanks for coming in. Everybody, my name is Sailor Simoyet. I am a I am. Oh no, no, let me type. Let me type in our chat. Let me type in our chat. Yay! I am. Oh, I think I got it. I am a sea puppy and ocean samoyed. I do ASMR reading specifically on Monday and Tuesday nights, and then I do gaming on Thursday nights. Thank you everybody for being in here. I'll have to check you out later though. What are you? Are you? Let me look at your about. Oh, you're a kitsune. Cute. Are you a cat kitsune? It looks like so cute. Oh, Sky Fox. Oh, okay, cute. Cute. I was barking at the raiders. They literally said, Sora makes us bark. Woof, woof, woof. Don't hate him. Hi, Sora. Hello. How was your stream? Oh, thank you so much. That's such a nice compliment. Thank you. Your stream was good? Yay! Oh, that's awesome. I love to hear it. Thank you so much for raiding. And oh, thank you for the follow as well. Thank you for the raid. Thank you for trusting everybody with me. That's very sweet. Hi, LD Dangles. Thank you so much for the follow as well. What, do you do regular ASMR triggers? Or do you do anything special? I know there's so many variations of ASMR, which is so cool. As we wait for an answer. Do the daisy dance. I gotta figure out where I even was. Hold on. Yes, we were talking about the fear looking at Elfland. And okay, so I was right here, I think. I asked what kind of ASMR you do. Do you do just regular trigger ASMR, or do you thanks for the scan, or do you do anything special? Like, you know, that. Oh gosh. Like for me, I do raiding. I don't know why I said raiding. Oh, my southern accent started coming out. Triggers and whisper yapping. Classic. Perfect. Here. I'll do another one. Look. Hold on. Where is scan? Here, I'll do another one. They're very, very funny. My favorite is when like my head gets elongated. I try not to look. I try not to look at the scan as it's happening, so it's natural. So that's a pretty good one. They're very, very funny. I love it. Oh, Benzo, thank you for the gifted sub. Thank you. Let me put you on up here. Thank you, Benzo. Thank you so much. We got you right here. And we're actually going to extend it. We're going to make you guys a little longer tonight because I don't know if making the thing... No, let me elongate. Elongate. Thank you. Benzo, how big are you? You're off, first off. You're off the line. Oh my god, who am I controlling? Oh, you! You're so tiny. You're a little baby name. We're gonna move you up. How is that? You're still a little, just a smidge big. There, I think that works. Yay! Yes, Benzo! Tubby Benzo! Boobs, boobas, boobies. Yeah. Yep, good job, guys. Again, thank you so much, Sora, for the raid. I appreciate it. I hope you all have a good night, and that you all sleep well, and that you have a wonderful after stream care, and take care of yourself. Thank you. He had on his sacred robe with its border of purple and the emblem of gold round his neck, but the door of his holy place was shut and his back was towards it. They wondered to see him stand thus. Thank you so much. Have a lovely, lovely night. Good evening. And as they wandered, the friar began to intone, clear in the evening, with his eyes away to the east, where already a few of the earliest stars were showing. With his head held high, he spoke as though his voice might pass over the frontier of twilight and be heard by the people of Elfland. Cursed be all wandering things, he said, whose place is not upon earth. Cursed be all lights that dwell in fens and in marish places. Their homes are in deeps of the marshes. Let them by no means stir from there until the last day. Let them abide in their place, and there await damnation. Big fish. And you didn't get a big one, womp. Cursed be gnomes, trolls, elves, and goblins on land, and all sprites of the water. And fawns be accursed, and such as follow Pan, and all that dwell on the heath, being other than beasts or men. Cursed be fairies, and all tales told of them, and whatever enchants the meadow before the sun is up, and all fables of doubtful authority, and the legends that men hand down from unhallowed times. This dude hates anything magical. Oh god. Cursed be brooms that leave their place by the hearth. Cursed be witches, and all manner of witcheries. Cursed be toadstool rings, and whatever dances within them, and all strange lights, strange songs, strange shadows, or rumors that hint of them, and all doubtful things of the dusk, and the things that ill-instructed children fear, and old wives' tales, and things done of midsummer nights. All of these be accursed, with all of that leaneth towards Elfland, and all that cometh thence. Hi Magnum, thank you so much for being here, welcome. And within the dark circle in which the freer stood, making his curses, were no unhallowed things, nor were there strangeness such as come of night, nor whispers from unknown voices, nor sounds of any music blowing here from no haunts of men, but all was orderly and seemly there, and no mysteries troubled the quiet except such as have been justly allowed to man. Hi Cheese, hello, welcome in. And beyond that circle went so much was beaten back. Oh, it transformed. Okay, let's see what we got. We got Void Moyed. Okay. We're going emo. Oh my god, you literally can't even make out my outfit because of shoes. Oh, that's funny. And beyond that circle whence so much was beaten back by the bright vehemence of the good man's curses, the will-o'-the-wisps rioted, and many Michael wasn't like My Chemical Romance. Was gone, and many a strangeness that poured in that night from Elfland, and goblins held high holiday, for word was gone forth in Elfland that pleasant folk had now their dwelling in Earl, and many a thing of fable, many a monster of myth, had crept through that border of twilight, and had come into Earl to see. And the light and false but friendly will-o'-the-wisps danced in the haunted air and made them welcome. And not only the trolls and the will-o'-the-wisps had lured these folks from their fabled land through the seldom traversed border, but the longings and thoughts of Orion, which by half his lineage were akin to the things of myth, and of one race with the monsters of Elfland, were calling to them now. But ever since that day by the frontier, when he had hovered between Earth and Elfland, he had yearned more and more for his mother, and now, whether he willed it or no, his elfin thoughts were calling their kin that dwelt in the elvish fells, and at that hour, when the sound of the horns blew through the frontier of twilight, they had come tumbling after it, for elfin thoughts are as much akin to the creatures that dwell in Elfland as goblins are to trolls. Within the calm and the dark of the good man's curses, the 12 old men stood silent, listening to every word, and the words seemed good to them, and soothing, and right, for they were over-weary of magic. But beyond the circle of darkness, amidst the glare of the will-o'-the-wisps, with which all the night flickered, amidst goblins' laughter and the unbridled mirth of the trolls, where old legends seemed alive, and the fearfulest fables true, amongst all manner of mysteries, queer sounds, queer shapes, and queer shadows, Orion passed with his hounds eastward towards Elfland. Thank you for the lurk, Hollow. Have a great night. And hi, Enderman. Good evening. How are you today? Okay. We have read 3 chapters, which means we have 3 chapters to go. We're halfway, and it's been an hour. Yeah, I think we're gonna finish this tonight. Yay! Only issue is that I don't know what I'm gonna read tomorrow. I guess I'll think about it and figure it out. We are reading The King of Elfland's Daughter, one of the very first high fantasies. I'm going. I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I can't do anything. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I feel horrible. Yeah, concussion sounds right. Oh, how did I even hit that mic? How did I hit it? Oh no. Oh no. It's my transform. I'm sorry. Oh, it's okay. I just beat you guys up. I beat you guys up. Y'all are the ones with the black eyes, not me. Oh, thanks for the head pats. I'm sorry. Oh, frick. Why is your brain rattling? I don't know. Who's to say? Oh, frick. Yeah. Spelled with a Y. Lifestyle with a Y. I apologize. I'm sorry. Hey, what the frick? What the frick? My head went back, but not my outfit. Hold on. Go Power Rangers. Okay, we're just gonna move on. We're gonna move on. I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry, God Honor. Oh, I'm so sorry. I have to I'm gonna make a note of when that happened. I'm gonna have to edit this VOD a little bit, make it a little quiet. I can't have that happening. It was at 1:10 or something. Okay. Okay, we're just gonna move on. It never happened, okay? It never happened. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Chapter 32. Lyrazel yearns for Earth. In the hall that was built of moonlight, dreams, music. Yeah, I think it's funny that YouTube just suggested me to you. You didn't go out of your way to find me. YouTube itself was like, hey, here's this YouTuber, try her. I think that's funny. Music and Mirage. Hi, Nightwolf. Thank you so much for the follow. Lyrazel knelt on the sparkling floor before her father's high throne, and the light of the magical throne shone blue in her eyes, and her eyes flashed back a light. Oh, oh, this is someone big? They got a shout out. Hello, hello, now I have to check you out. Hello. Oh my god, you play as this little wolf. Oh, you're like a little wolf. That's so cute. So instead of being like an actual like humanoid VTuber, you're a little wolf. That's so cute. Oh, so cute, so cute. Thank you for popping in and saying hello. I appreciate it. You just missed it. I abused everybody, but you weren't here, so it's fine. His current model is humanoid. What? Huh? On his home. Oh, I guess it's your clips from 6 months ago. Oh, I need to hit videos. You are humanoid. Oh shit! Look at you. Oh my god, you've got like a whole ass necklace. Oh my god, you look so cool. You're so cool. Darn it, Twitch. Just showing me the clips, not the videos, not the VODs. Thanks for letting me know Apocalypse. He also has good ASMR. What times do you stream? Schedule. Do you stream more during the day? No, you stream at night. Okay, I'll have to check you out. You stream heckin' late? Yeah. I see. You streamed up until a little past 3 a.m. yesterday. Cute. I'll check you out. Yay. And you'll be upgrading? Are you gonna upgrade to a personalized model? Someone that you commissioned? That'd be cool. That's really cool. Yes! Oh my god, that's amazing! Oh, that's so cool! That's like a dream level to hit, you know? Oh, that's awesome. Congrats, I'm excited for you. I love to hear it. Thank you for stopping by and saying hello. I appreciate it. Oh, where even was I? Of course. Oh, that's very sweet. Thank you. Old days would not let her be. Sweet memories thronged about her. The lawns of Elfland had her love, lawns upon which she had played by the old miraculous flowers before any histories were written here. She loved the sweet, soft creatures of myth that moved like magical shadows out of the guardian wood and over enchanted grasses. She loved every fable of song and spell that had made her Elfland home. And yet, the bells of earth that could not pass the frontier of silence and twilight beat note by note in her brain, and her heart felt the growth of the little earthly flowers as they bloomed or faded or slept in seasons that came not to Elfland. And in those seasons, wasting away as everyone went by, she knew that Alveric wandered, knew that Orion lived and grew and changed, and that both, if Earth's legends were true, would soon be lost to her forever and ever, when the gates of heaven would shut on both with a golden thud. For between Elfland and heaven is no path, no flight, no way, and neither sends ambassador to the other. She yearned to the bells of earth and the English cowslips, but would not forsake again her mighty father, nor the world that his mind had made. And Alveric came not, nor her boy Orion. Lyrazel, they're trying, okay? Thank you very much. They are trying to come. Calm down. Only the sound of Alveric's horn came once, and often strange longings seemed to float in the air, beating vainly back and forth between Orion and her, and the gleaming pillars that held the dome of the roof, or above which it floated, quivered a little with her grief, and shadows of her sorrow flickered and faded in the crystal deep of the walls, for a moment dimming many a color that is unknown in our fields, but making them no less lovely. What could she do who would not cast away magic and leave the home that an ageless day had endeared to her, while centuries were withering like leaves upon earthly shores, whose heart was yet held by those little tendrils of earth which are strong enough. We're just fishing. Good, and raffling, okay. And some, translating her bitter need into pitiless earthless words, may say that she wished to be in two places at once, and that was true, and the impossible wish lies on the verge of laughter, and for her was only and wholly a matter for tears. Impossible? Was it impossible? We had to do with magic. She besought a rune of her father, kneeling upon the magic floor in the midmost center of Elfland. Okay, hold on. Before I keep reading this, she spoke about a rune. Didn't her dad only use 2 runes earlier and he has 3? It's like a genie with 3 wishes. The first rune he used to make like his trusted guard come back to life after Alveric killed him. The second rune he used to force Lyrazel to come back to Elfland. Doesn't he have one more rune? I feel like that's gotta come into play somewhere, which is a little scary, just saying. And around her arose the pillars, of which only song may say, whose misty bulk was disturbed and troubled by Lyrazel's sorrow. She besought a rune that, wherever they roamed through whatever fields of earth, should restore her to Alveric and Orion. Thank you for the lurk, Enderman. Have a good night. Bringing them over the border. Whoa, okay. And into the elfin lands to live in that timeless age that is one long day in Elfland. She wants to kidnap them. She wants to kidnap them and force them to live in Elfland. Okay, alright. And with them she prayed might come, for the mighty runes of her father had such power even as this. Some garden of earth, or bank where violets lay, or hollow where cowslips waved, to shine in Elfland forever. Like no music heard in any cities of men, or dreamed upon earthly hills, with his elfin voice her father answered her. And the ringing words were such as had power to change the shape of the hills of dreams, or to enchant new flowers to blow in fields of fairy. I have no rune, he said, that has power to pass the frontier, or to lure anything from the mundane fields, be it violets, cowslips, or men, to come through our bulwark of twilight that I have set to guard us against material things. No rune but one, and that the last of the potencies of our realm. I'm locking in tonight. That's right, I am. I'm really focused. And kneeling yet upon the glittering floor, of whose profound, translucent song alone shall speak, she prayed him for that one rune, last potency, though it be of the awful wonders of Elfland, and he would not squander that rune that lay locked in his treasury, most magical of his powers, and last of the 3, but held it against the peril of a distant and unknowing day, whose light shone just beyond a curve of the ages, too far for the eerie vision even of his foreknowledge. Why are you even bothering with gambling? I don't know. Don't ask me. She knew that he had moved Elfland far afield and swung it back as tides are swung by the moon, till it lapped at the very edge of the fields of men once more, with its 2 seconds. Oh my God. With its glimmering border touching the tips of the earthly hedges, and she knew that no more than the moon he used a rare wonder, merely wafting his religions away. Wafting his regions, thank you, away by a magical gesture. Might he not, she thought, bring Elfland and Earth yet nearer, using no rarer magic than is used by the moon at the neap? And so she supplicated him once again, recalling wonders to him that he had wrought, and yet used no rarer spell than a certain wave of his arm. She spoke of the magical orchids that came down once over cliffs like a sudden roseate foam, breaking over the Elfin mountains. She spoke of the downy clusters of queer mauve flowers which bloomed in the grass of the dells, and of that glory of blossom that forever guarded the lawns. For all of these wonders were his. Birdsong and pluming of flower alike were his inspirations. If such wonders as song and bloom were wrought by a wave of his hand, surely he might be beckoning, bring but a short way from earth some few fields that lay so near to the earthly border. Or surely he might move Elfland a little earthward again, who had lately moved it as far as the turn in the path of the comet, and had brought it again to the edge of the fields of men. Never, he said, can any rune but one, or spell, or wonder, or any magical thing, move our realm one wing's width over the earthly border, or bring anything thence here. And little they know in those fields that even one rune can do it. And still, she would scarce believe that those accustomed powers of her wizard sire could not easily bring the things of earth and the wonders of Elfland together. From those fields, he said, my spells are all beaten back, my incantations are mute, and my right arm powerless. And when he spoke thus to her of that dread right arm, at last perforce she believed him, and she prayed him again for that ultimate rune, that long-hoarded treasure of Elfland, that potency that had strength to work against the harsh weight of earth. And his thoughts went into the future all alone, peering far down the years. More gladly had a traveler at night in lonely ways given up his lantern than had this elvish king now used his last great spell, and so cast it away, and gone without it into those dubious years, whose dim forms he saw, and many of their events, but not to the end. Easily had she asked for that dread spell, which should appease the only need she had. Easily might he have granted it, were he but human, but his vast wisdom saw so much of the years to be that he feared to face them without his last great potency. Beyond our border, he said, material things stand fierce and strong and many, and have the power to darken and to increase, for they have wonders too. And when this last potency be used and gone, there remains in all of our realm no rune that they dread, and material things will multiply and put the powers in bondage, and we, without any rune of which they go in awe, shall become no more than a fable. We must yet store this rune. Yes, I think it's 30 seconds. I think it's something like that. Thus he reasoned with her rather than commanded, though he was the founder and king of all those lands, and all that wandered in them, and of the light in which they shone. And reason in Elfland was no daily thing, but an exotic wonder. With this he sought to soothe her earthward fancies, and Lyrazel made no answer, but only wept, weeping tears of enchanted dew. And all the line of the Elfin mountains quivered, as wandering winds will tremble to notes of a violin that had strayed beyond hearing down the ways of the air. And all the creatures of fable that dwelt in the realm of Elfland felt so something strange in their hearts, like the dying away of a song. "Is it not best for Elfland that I do this?" said the king. And still she only wept. God, sorry. Yawn, yawn, yawn. And then she sighed and considered the welfare of Elfland again. For Elfland drew its happiness from the calm of that palace, which was its center, and of which only song may tell. And now its spires were troubled, and the light of its walls were dim, and a sorrow was floating from its vaulted doorway all over the fields of Fairy and over the dells of Dream. If she were happy, Elfland might bask again in that untroubled light and eternal calm, whose radiance blesses all but material things. And though his treasury were open and empty yet, what more were needed then? So he commanded, and a coffer was brought before him by elfin things, and the knight of his guard, who had been watched over it forever, came marching behind them. He opened the coffer with a spell, for it opened to no key, and taking from it an ancient parchment scroll, he rose and read from it while his daughter wept. And the words of the rune as he read were like the notes of a band of violins, all played by masters chosen from many ages, hidden on midsummer's midnight in a wood, with a strange moon shining, the air full of madness and mystery. That's my dog. And lurking close but invisible, things beyond the wisdom of man. Thus he read that rune, and powers heard and obeyed it, not alone in Elfland, but over the border of Earth. Hi, Spaceship. Thank you so much for the follow. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. Chapter 33. We have 2 chapters to go. This one and one more. The Shining Line. And also, okay, so what basically just happened is that because Lyrazel kept crying, her dad used the rune to, bring Alveric and Orion into Elfland? Or to make their borders closer? I'm not certain. I guess that's what we'll find out. I mean, this title is called The Shining Line, so I presume it's Elfland, not Alveric and Orion, but I guess we'll find out. Alveric wandered on, alone of that small company of 3, without a hope to guide him. For Niv and Zend, who were lately led by the hope of their fantastic quest, no longer yearned for Elfland, but were guided now by their plan to hold Alveric back from it. They vacillated more slowly than sane folk, but clung with far more than the sane fervor to each facilitation. And Zend, that had wandered through so many years with the hope of Elfland before him, looked on it, now that he had seen its frontier, as one of the rivals of the moon. Niv, who had endured as much for Alveric's quest, saw in that magical land something more fabulous than was in all of his dreams. And now, when Alveric attempted lame cahorleries with those swift and ferocious minds, he received no more answers from Zend than the curt statement, "It is not the will of the moon," while Niv would only reiterate, "Have I not dreams enough?" They were wandering back again past farms that had known them years before. With their old grey tent more tattered, they appeared in the twilight, adding a shade to the evening, in fields wherein they and their tent had become a legend. And never was Alveric unwatched by some mad eye, lest he should slip from the camp and come to Elfland and be where dreams were stranger than Niv's, and under a power more magical than the moon. Often he tried, creeping silently from his place in the dead of the night. One moonlight, night he tried first, waiting awake till all of the world seemed sleeping. He knew that the frontier was not far away, as he crept from the tent into the brightness and black shadows, and past Niv sleeping heavily. A little way he went, and there was Zen sitting still on a rock, gazing into the face of the moon. Round came Zen's face, and, newly inspired by the moon, he shouted and leapt at Alveric. They had taken away his sword, and Niv woke and came towards them with immense fury, united to Zend by one jealousy, for each of them knew well that the wonders of Elfland were greater than any fancy their minds would ever know. And again he tried, on a night when no moon shone. But on that night, Niv was sitting outside of the camp, relishing in a strange and joyless way a certain comradeship that there was between his ravings and the interstellar darkness. And there in the night he saw Alveric slipping away towards the land whose wonders far transcended all of Niv's poor dreams, and all of the fury the lesser can feel for the greater awoke at once in his mind, and, creeping up behind him, without any help from Zend, he smote Alveric insensible to the ground. And never did Alveric plan any escape after that, but that the busy thoughts of madness anticipated it. And so they came, watchers, and watched over the fields of men, and Alveric sought help of the folk of the farms, but the cunning of Niv knew too well the tricks of sanity, so that when the folk came running over their fields to that queer grey tent from which they heard Alveric's cries, they found Niv and Zend posed in a calm that they had much practiced, while Alveric told of his thwarted quest of Elfland. Now, by many men, all quests are considered mad, as the cunning of Niv knew. Alveric found no help here. As they went back by the way by which they had marched for years, Niv led that band of 3, stepping ahead of Alveric and Zend, with his lean face held high, made all the leaner by the long, thin points to which he had trained his beard and his mustaches, and wearing Alveric's sword that stuck out long behind him and its hilt high in front. And he stepped and perked his head with a certain air that revealed to the rare travelers who saw him that the spare and ragged figure esteemed himself the leader of a greater band than were visible. Indeed, if one had just seen him at the end of the evening, with the dusk and the mist of the fenlands close behind him, he might have believed that in the dusk and the mist was an army that followed this gay, worn, confident man. Had the army been there, Niv was sane. Had the world accepted that an army was there, even though only Alveric and Zend followed his curious steps, still he was sane. But the lonely fancy that had not fact to feed on, nor the fancy of any other for fellowship, was for its loneliness mad. You could start a scooter shop. Zend watched Alveric all the while, as they marched behind Niv, for their mutual jealousy of the wonders of Elfland. Don't have it. I keep thinking about how I'm yawning, which is making me want to yawn. It's a never-ending loop. For their mutual jealousy of the wonders of Elfland found Niv and Zend together. Thank you, stretch. Thank you. Oh, it's so good. It's contagious, oh no. Thank you for the hydrate. For their mutual jealousy of the wonders of Elfland bound Niv and Zend together to work as with one wild whim. And now, one morning, Niv stretched himself up to the fullest possible height of his lean inches and extended his right arm high and addressed his army. "We are come near again to Earl," he said, "and we shall bring new fancies in place of outworn things and things that are stale, and its customs shall be henceforth the way of the moon." Now, Niv cared nothing for the moon, but he had great cunning, and he knew that Zend would aid his new plan against Earl, if only for the sake of the moon. And Zend cheered till the echoes came back from a lonely hill, and Niv smiled to them like a leader confident of his hosts. And Alveric rose against them then, and struggled with Niv and Zend for the last time, and learned that age, or wandering, or loss of hope had left him unable to strive against the maniacal strength of these two. Black Rose, I just did a hydration. Here, I'll do one sip for you. There you go. I did a sip. Thank you. And after that, he went with them more meekly, with resignation, caring no longer what befell him, living only in memory, and only for days that had been. And in November evenings, in this dim camp in the chill, he saw, looking only backwards through the years, spring mornings shine again on the towers of Earl. In the light of these mornings, he saw Orion again, playing again with old toys that the witch had made with a spell. He saw Lyrazel move once more through the gracious gardens. Yet no light that memory is able to kindle was strong enough to illumine much that camp in those somber evenings, when the damp rose up from the ground, and the chill swooped out of the air, and Niv and Zend, as darkness came, stealing nearer, began to chatter in low, eager voices, schemes inspired by such winds as throve at dusk in the waste. Thank you. Only when the sad day drifted wholly thence, and Alveric slept by flapping tatters that streamed from the tent in the night, then only was memory, unhindered by the busy changes of day, able to bring back Earl to him, bright, happy, and vernal, so that while his body lay still in far fields, in the dark and the winter, all that was most active and live in him was back over the worlds of Earl, back over the years in spring with Lyrazel and Orion. How far he was bodily, in sheer miles from his home, for which his happy thoughts each night forsook his weary frame, Alveric knew not. It was many years since their tent had stood one evening a grey shape in that landscape in which it now waved its tatters. But Niv knew that of late they had come nearer to Earl, for his dreams of it came to him now, soon after he fell asleep, and they used to come to him further on in the night, on the other side of midnight, and even towards morning. And from this he argued that they used to have further to come, and were now but a little ways off. When he told this secretly one evening to Zend, Zend listened gravely, but gave no opinion, merely saying, "The moon knows." Nevertheless, he followed Niv, who led this curious caravan always in that direction from which his dreams of the Valley of Earl came soonest. And this queer leadership brought them nearer to Earl, as often happens where men follow leaders that are crazy or blind or deceived. They reach some port or other through which they stray down the years with little foresight enough. Were it otherwise, what would become of us? And one day, the upper parts of the towers of Earl looked at them out of the blue distance, shining in early sunlight above a curve of the downs, and towards them Niv turned at once and led directly, for the line of their wandering march had not pointed straight to Earl, and marched on as a conqueror that sees some new city gates. What his plans were, Alveric did not know, but kept to his apathy, and Zend did not know, for Niv had merely said that his plans must be secret. Nor did Niv know, for his fancies poured through his brain and rushed away. What fancies made what plans in a mood that was yesterday's? How could he tell today? Then, as he went, they soon came to a shepherd, standing amongst his grazing sheep and leaning upon his crook, who watched and seemed to have no other care but only to watch all things going by, or, when nothing passed, to gaze and gaze at the downs till all of his memories were fashioned out of their huge grass curves. He stood, a bearded man, and watched them with never a word as they passed, and one of Niv's mad memories suddenly knew him, and Niv hailed him by his name, and the shepherd answered. And who should he be but Vand? I don't recall Vand. I wonder if he was one of the members of the pact of the band, like way back when, like 12 years ago when they started. Then they fell talking. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. And Niv spoke suavely, as he always did with the sane folk, aping with clever mimicry the ways and the tricks of sanity, lest Alveric should ask for help against him. But Alveric sought no help. Silent he stood and heard the others talking, but his thoughts were far in the past, and their voices were only sounds to him. And Vand inquired of them if they had found Elfland, but he spoke as one asks of children if their toy boat has been to the Happy Isles. He had for many years to do with sheep, and had come to know their needs and their price, and the need men have of them, and these things had risen imperceptibly up all around his imagination, and were at last a wall over which he saw no further. When he was young, yes, once, he had sought for Elfland, but now, why now he was older, such things were for the young. But we saw its border, said Zend, the border of twilight. A mist, said said Vand. Oh, disguise. Of the evening. I have stood, said Zend, upon the edge of Elfland. But Vand smiled and shook his bearded head as he leaned on his long crook, and every way of his beard as he shook it slowly. Oh, Jesus, okay. Denied Zend's tale of that border, and his lips smiled it away, and his tolerant eyes were grave with the lure of the fields we know. No, not Elfland, he said, and Niv agreed with Vand, for he watched his mood, studying the ways of sanity, and they spoke of Elfland lightly, as one tells of some dream that came of dawn and went away before waking, and Alveric heard with despair, for Lyrazel dwelt not only over the border, but even, as he saw now, beyond human belief, so that all at once she seemed remoter than ever, and he still lonelier. I sought for it once, said Vand, but no, there's no Elfland. No, said Niv, and only Zend wondered. No, replied Vand, and shook his head and lifted his eyes to his sheep. And just beyond his sheep, and coming towards them, he saw a shining line. So long his eyes stayed fixed on that shining line coming over the downs from the eastward that the others turned and looked. Oh, all these guys being like, no, Elfland doesn't exist. Okay, well, just wait like 2 seconds. They saw it too, a shimmering line of silver, or a little blue like steel, flickering and changing with a reflection of strange passing colors. And before it, very faint, like threatening breezes breathing before a storm, came the soft sound of very old songs. It caught, as they all stood gazing, one of Van's furthest sheep, and instantly its fleece was that pure gold, what? That it's told of an old romance. And the shining line came on, and the sheep disappeared altogether. What? They saw now that it was about the height of the mist from a small stream, and still Van stood gazing at it, neither moving nor thinking. But Niv turned very soon, and beckoned curtly to Zend, and seized Alveric by the arm, and hastened away towards Earl. What do they have against letting this dude go see his wife? What is happening? No, I don't mean tan line. Why though? Do they not want Alveric to see? Hi, you're insane. Thank you for the follow. Oh my god. Okay, yep. The gleaming line that seemed to bump and stumble over every unevenness of the rough fields came not so fast as they hastened, yet it never stopped when they rested, never wearied when they were tired, but came on over all of the hills and hedges of earth, nor did sunset change its appearance or check its pace. Alrighty. Chapter 34. Chapter 34. The last great rune. As Alveric hastened back, led by two madmen, to those lands over which he had long ago been lord, the horns of Elfland, thank you, the horns of Elfland had sounded in Earl all day, and though only Orion heard them, they no less thrilled the air, flooding it deep with their curious golden music, and filling the day with a wonder that others felt, so that many a young girl leaned from her window to see what was enchanting the morning. But as the day wore on, the enchantment of the unheard music dwindled, giving place to a feeling that weighed on all minds in Earl, and seemed to bode the imminence of some unknown region of wonder. All his life, Orion had heard these horns blowing at evening, except upon days on which he had done ill. If he heard the horns at evening, he knew that it was well within him. But now they had blown in the morning, and blew all day, like a fanfare in front of a march. And Orion looked out of his window and saw nothing, and the horns rang on, proclaiming he knew not what. Far away, they called his thoughts from the things of earth that are the concern of men, far away from all that casts shadow. He spoke to no man that day, but he went among his trolls and such elfin things as had followed them over the border, and all men that saw him perceived such a look in his eyes as showed his thoughts to be far in realms that they dreaded, and his thoughts were indeed far thence, once more with his mother, and hers were with him, lavishing tenderness that the years had denied her in their swift passage over our fields that she never had understood, and somehow he knew she was near. And all of that strange morning the will-o'-the-wisps were restless, and the trolls leaped wildly all about their lofts, for the horns of Elfland tinged all of the air with magic, and excited their blood, although they could not hear them. But towards evening they felt impending some great change, and all grew silent and moody, and something brought to them yearnings for their far magical home, as though a breeze had blown suddenly into their faces, straight off of the tarns of Elfland, and they ran up and down the street, looking for something magical to ease their loneliness among mundane things, but found nothing resembling the spell-born lilies that grew in their glory above the elfin tarns. Hi, Leaf. Welcome in, good evening. And the folk of the village perceived them everywhere and longed for the wholesome earthly days again that there were before the coming of magic to Earl. And some of them hurried off to the house of the Freer and took refuge with him amongst his holy things from all the unhallowed shapes that there were in the streets, and all of the magic that tingled and loomed in the air, and he guarded them with his curses, which floated away the light. I got a long face. And almost aimless will-o'-the-wisps, and even, at a short distance, awed the trolls, but they ran and capered only a little way off, and while the little group clustered about the Freer, seeking solace from him against whatever impended, with which the air was growing tenser and grimmer as the short day wore on, there went others to Gnarl and the busy elders of Earl to say, "See what your plans have done? See what you have brought onto the village." I agree. You got all of these like really intense names and then Earl. It's funny. And it's spelled E-R-L, to be specific. There's no A. And none of the elders made immediate answer, but said that they must take counsel with one another, for they trusted greatly in the words said in their parliament. And to this intent they gathered again at the forge of Gnarl. It was evening now, but the sun had not yet set, nor Gnarl gone from his work, but his fire was beginning to glow with a deeper color among the shadows that had entered his forge, and the elders came in there walking slowly with grave faces, partly because of the mystery that they needed to cover their folly from the sight of the villagers, partly because magic hung now so gross in the valley air that they feared the imminence of some portentous thing. They sat in their parliament in that inner room while the sun went low and the elfin horns, had they but know it, blew clear and triumphantly. And there they sat in silence, for what could they say? They had wished for magic, and now it had come. Trolls were in all of the streets, goblins had entered houses, and now the nights were mad with the will-o'-the-wisps, and all of the air was heavy with unknown magic. What could they say? And after a while, Gnarl said that they must make a new plan, for they had been plain bell-fearing folk, but now there were magical things all over Earl, and more came every night from Elfland to join them. And what would become of the old ways, unless they made a plan? Oops, I hit my mouse. Sorry, hold on. And Gnarl's words emboldened them all, though they felt the ominous menace of the horns that they could not hear. But the talk of a plan emboldened them, for they deemed that they could plan against magic, and one by one they rose to speak of a plan. But at the sunset the talk died down, and their dread that something impended grew now to a certain knowledge. Often Thrall knew it first, who had lived familiar with the mystery in the wood. All knew that something was coming. No one knew what, and they all sat silent, wondering in the gloaming. Larulu saw it first. He had dreamed all day of the weed-green tarns of Elfland, and growing weary of earth, had gone all lonely to the top of a tower that rose from the castle of Earl, and perched himself on a battlement and gazed wistfully homewards, and looking out over the fields that we know. That'd be nice, wouldn't it, suspicious? And looking out over the fields we know, he saw the shining line coming down on Earl, and from it he heard rise faint, as it rippled over the furrows, a murmur of many old songs, for it came with all manners of memories. Old music. Hi Monty, thank you so much for the follow, good evening. Old music and lost voices, sweeping back again to our old fields, what time had driven from Earth. It was coming towards him bright as the evening star, and flashing with sudden colors, some common on Earth, and some unknown to our rainbow, so that Larulu knew it at once for the frontier of Elfland, and all of his impudence returned to him at the sight of his fabulous home, and he uttered shrill gusts of laughter from his high perch that rang over the roofs below like the chatter of building birds, and the little homesick trolls in the lofts were cheered by the sound of his merriment, though they knew not from what it came. And now Orion heard the horns blowing so loud and clear, and there was such triumph in their blowing and pomp. Hi, Seraphim Sands. Thank you so much for the follow. Good evening. and withal so wistful a crooning that he knew now why they blew, knew that they proclaimed the approach of a princess of the elfin line, knew that his mother came back to him. Hello, good evening. High on her hill, Zorandril knew this, being forewarned by magic, and looking downward at evening, she saw that star-like line of blended twilights of old, lost summer evenings, sweeping over the fields towards Earl. Almost, she wondered, as she saw this glittering thing flowing over the earthly pastures, although her wisdom had told her that it must come. And on the one side, she saw the fields we know, full of accustomed things, and on the other, looking down from her height, she saw, behind the myriad-tinted border, the deep green elfin foliage and Elfland's magical flowers, and things that delirium sees not, nor inspiration, on earth, and the fabulous creatures of Elfland prancing forward, and stepping across our fields, and bringing Elfland with her, the twilight flowing from both of her hands, which she stretched out a little from her, was from her own lady, the Princess Lyrazel, coming back to her home. And at this sight, and all of the strangeness coming across our fields, or because of old memories that came with the twilight, or bygone songs that sang in it, a strange joy came shivering upon Zorandril, as if witches weep, she wept. And now from upper windows of the houses, the folk began to see that glittering line which no earthly twilight. They saw it flash at them with its starry gleam, and then flow on towards them. Da-da-da. Okay, we are going cleanly in. Thank you for the transformation. Fish with the devil. Slowly it came as though it rippled with difficulty over Earth's rugged bulk, though moving lately over the rightful lands of the Elf King, it had outspeeded the comet, and hardly had they wondered as its righteousness, when they found themselves amongst most familiar things, for the old memories that floated before it, as a wind before the thunder, beat in a sudden gust on their hearts and their houses, and lo! They were living once more amongst things long past and lost, and at that line of no earthly light came nearer, there rustled before it a sound as of rain on leaves, old sighs breathed over and over again, old lovers' whispers repeated, and there fell on these folk, as they all leaned hushed from their windows, a mood that looked gently, wistfully backwards through time, such a mood as might lurk by huge dock leaves in ancient gardens when everyone is gone that has tended their roses or ever loved the bowers. Fish with baby Jesus. You gotta see, urchin. maybe, I guess who would be next? You already did the devil. I don't know who would be next. for Mary and Joseph themselves, maybe the biblical accurate angel. Not yet had that line of starlight and bygone loves lapped at the walls of Earl or foamed on the houses, but it was so near now that already there slipped away the daily cares that held folk down to the present, and they felt the balm of past days and blessings from hands long withered. Now elders ran out to children that skipped with a rope in the street to bring them into the houses, not telling them why, for fear of frightening their daughters. And the alarm in their mothers' faces, for a moment, startled the children. Then some of them looked to the eastward and saw that shining line. "It is Elfland coming," they said, and went on with their skipping. And the hounds knew, though what they knew I cannot say, but some influence reached them from Elfland, such as comes from the full moon, and they bayed as they bay on clear nights, and the fields are flooded with moonlight. The boys always come through. Oh yeah, you got a rare sunfish with the boys. Good job. And the dogs in the streets that always watched lest anything strange should come knew how great a strangeness was near them now, and proclaimed it to all of the valley. Already the old leather worker in his cottage across the field, looking out of his window to see if his well were frozen, saw a May morning of 50 years ago, and his wife gathering lilac, for Elfland had beaten time away from his garden. And now the jackdaws had left the towers of Earl and flew away westward, and the baying of the hounds filled the air, and the barking of lesser dogs. This suddenly ceased, and a great hush fell on the village, as though snow had suddenly fallen inches deep, and though the hush came softly, a strange old music, and no one spoke at all. Fish with Ronald McDonald. Then, where Zerondrel sat by her door with her chin on her hand gazing, she saw the bright line touch the houses and stop, flowing past them on either side, but held by the houses, as though it had met with something too strong for its magic. But only for a moment the houses held back that wonderful tide, for it broke over them with a burst of unearthly foam, like a meteor of unknown metal burning in heaven, and passed on, and the houses stood all quaint and queer and enchanted, like homes remembered out of a long past age by the sudden waking of an inherited movie. Ooh, epic. Oh wow, that's smart. That's right. Hi Chris, good evening. And then she saw the boy she had nursed step forward into the twilight, drawn by a power no less than that which was moving Elfland. She saw him and his mother meet again. Oh, yay! And all of that light that was flooding the valley with splendor. And Elveric was with her, he and she together, a little apart from attendant fabulous things that escorted her all of the way from the valves of the Elfland mountains. And from Elveric had fallen away that heavy burden of years, and all of the sorrow of wandering. He too was back again in the days that were, with old songs and lost voices. With Sailor Moon, what you gonna get, what you gonna get, what you gonna get? What is that? A 1-star carp? Oh, boo, boo. Boo. And Zerondrel could not see the princess's tears when she met Orion again after all of that separation of space and time, for though they flashed like stars, she stood in the border in all of that radiance of starlight that shone about her like the broad face of a planet. But though the witch saw not this, there came to her old ears clearly the sound of songs, returning again to our fields, out of the glens of Elfland, wherein they had laid for so long, which were all of the old songs lost from the nurseries of earth. They crooned now about the meeting of Lyrazel and Orion. And Niv and Zend had ease at last from their fierce fancies, for their wild thoughts sank to the rest in the calm of Elfland, and slept as hawks sleep in their trees when evening has lulled the world. Zorondoril saw them standing together where the edge of the downs had been, a little way off from Alveric, and there was Vand among his golden sheep that were munching the strange, sweet juices of wonderful flowers. Hi, the Pale Rider. Thank you so much for the follow. Good evening. Fish in Detroit. Fish in Chernobyl. Both of you doing. That's funny. With all of these wonders, Lyrazel came for her son, and brought Elfland with her that never had moved before the width of a harebell over the earthly border, and where they met was an old garden of roses under the towers of Earl, where once she had walked, and none had cared for it since. It's where the fish are unique. Yeah, that's true. Great weeds were now in its walks, and even they were withered with the rigor of late November. Their dry stalks hissed about his feet as Orion walked through them, and they swung back brown behind him over untended paths. But before him bloomed in all of their glory and beauty the great voluptuous roses, gorgeous with summer. Between November that she was driving before her and that old season of roses that she brought back to her garden, Lyrazel and Orion met. For a moment the withered garden lay brown behind him, then it all flashed into bloom, and the wild, glad song of birds from 100 arbors welcomed back the old roses. And Orion was back again in the beauty and brightness of days, whose dim, fair shades his memory cherished, such as are the chief of all the treasures of man. Oh, my transformation, hold on. But the treasury in which they lie is locked, and we have not the key. Then Elfland poured over Earl. Okay, let me really quickly. Okay, good. All fixed. Only the holy place of the Freer and the garden that was about it remained still of our earth, a little island all surrounded by wonder, like a mountain peak all rocky, alone in air, when a mist wells up in the gloaming from highland valleys, and leaves only one pinnacle darkly to gaze at the stars. Hi, Joy! Hi, Joy! Hello! Good evening! Hello, Miss Eligible for Partner. How are you? Yay. For the sound of his bell beat back the rune and the twilight for a little distance all around. There he lived happy, contented, not quite alone, amongst his holy things, for a few that had been cut off by that magical tide lived on the holy island and served him there, and he lived beyond the age of ordinary men, but not to the years of magic. Hello, Joy. Joy, real quick, give me a number, 1 through 6. 1 through 6, give me a number. Fish using chainsaw. I'm crazy. Joy. See, Joy got busy. Uh-oh. Fish with your sister's hair. Manager said 6. Joy, are you here? Did you check in and then have to go do something? Fish with mom's spaghetti. Yeah, true. I'll give it 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Without a fishing rod. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Joy, are you still gone? Are you still busy? Okay, I'll take that as a yes. She had to go do something. It happens. Fish up, Joy. Let her go do what she had to do. Sometimes you join. I do that so much. I'll join somebody and I'll do like their daily thing, and then I just won't speak because I'm busy. I just wanted to come to like support. So it happens. Okay. For the sound of his bell beat back the rune, and the twilight for a little distance all around. There he lived happy, contented, not quite alone, amongst his holy things. For a few that had been cut off by that magical tide lived on the holy island and served him there, and he lived beyond the age. Oh, yes, of course, hold on. Beyond the age of ordinary men, but not to the years of magic. I swear, I probably read that already. 4. Okay, yes. Okay, 4 is Kilmoyan. So I'm all winter. I'm all like air themed. So a bunch of light colors, light blue, light pinks, white for my ear colors and my outfit. I'm trying to do some sort of like a cloud sort of wind theme. That is the number you chose. Fish with your sister as bait. Oh, Benzo. None ever crossed the boundary but one, the witch Sarantarol, who from her hill, that was just on the earthward border, would go by broom on starry nights to see her lady again. We are reading The King of Elfland's Daughter. Actually, I will say, Chris, you came in for the last 2 paragraphs. We are on the last 2 paragraphs of the book and then we're finished. But hey, thanks for coming anyways. And thank you, Joy. Thank you. After this, I'll show you the other versions really quickly. But hold on. Where she dwelt unvexed by years with Alferic and Orion. Thence she comes sometimes, high in the night on her broom, unseen by any down on the earthly fields, unless you chance to notice star after star blink out for an instant as she passes by them, and sits beside cottage doors and tells queer tales to such as care to have news of the wonders of Elfland. May I hear her again? Yes, woohoo, we're almost done. Nemo is not our next book, hold on. And with the last of his world-disturbing runes sent forth, and his daughter happy once more, the Elfin king on his tremendous throne breathed and drew in the calm in which Elfland basks, and all of his realms dreamed on in that ageless repose, of which deep green pools in summer can barely guess. And Earl dreamed too, with all of the rest of Elfland, and so passed out of all remembrance of men. For the 12 that were of the Parliament of Earl looked through the window of that inner room, wherein they planned their plans by the Forge of Gnarl, and gazing over their familiar lands, perceived that they were no longer the fields we know. The end! The end, the end, the end, the end, the end. We finished! We finished Elfland. OMG! Wow. Yay! Thank you, everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Joy, are you still here? I'll show you the other transformations if you want real quick. Oh, thank you, Mr. Manager. Thank you. No, they're the Parliament overall. 12 whole men in charge, I don't know. So I am gonna go, oh, sorry. So I am gonna go back to Sherlock Holmes next, but it's not gonna be tomorrow. I'll start that next Monday. Tomorrow I'll have to figure out something I can read, just for a little bit, just for one day's worth. I don't know, maybe we'll do more Reddit. I don't know, I'll figure it out. Okay, Joy, while you're here, let me show you. Okay, so obviously, this is Gale Moyet. Okay, so this is Blue Moyet. You gotta forget the fact that it's my PJs. It's not the most put together. Let me see if I can switch over to my main outfit real quick. Hold on. No PJs for you. Skirt. I'll fly off the screen. Hold on, let her load in. It's just easiest to do her from here. Okay. Actually, no, I lied. No, we'll keep her. We're fine. We'll keep her. Okay, so you want to hear all the breakup stories? Yeah. Okay, so this is obviously Blue Moyet. So she's very, like earthy theme. Flowers, I guess you could say. So this is Blue Moyet. And then beyond Blue Moyet, this is Chill Moyet. So she's Iceland. So, winter colors. Very light blues. And then my legs are shiny. Skirt. Shiny legs. And then Blessing Redeem. Maybe soon. I will think about it. And then after Chill, you've got Cinder, so all fiery. So the other model, she's got the fire ears, but I already switched to it, so it's whatever. But this is the fire version. Rar. You like Chill yet? No, get a body pillow. You can get yourself a body pillow, that's fine. I did that once, Chris. Yes, I do sing. I did a Reddit. I did a whole Reddit stream once. I can do another one tomorrow. It's funny. Obviously, this is Gale Moyet, which we already saw. And then this is Gleam Moyet, or Piss Moyet. Benzo. I can sing. It's just the specific channel point reward that you want is something that I would have to think about. Oh. Yes. This is Piss Moyet. And then, oh, no, I switched models. You can't bonk me right now. Here, I will do the bonk manually. I got you. Hold on. Let me manually bonk it for you. And there you go. There's the bonk. And then the last one, as my dog moves around in the bathroom, the last one is Void Moyet, which I have to switch this. I think I'm switching the color of the top. I just haven't done it yet. But here I am. Emo Sailor's back. Emo Sailor. Emar. We love emos. Yeah, I got a mallet in my room. Yes. Yes. Don't you know it? But okie dokie, so that was all of the little formations. Oh no, an ad in 58 seconds. There's no point. Snooze that. Snooze it. Thank you. We're ending stream. No point for ads. So yay! I chime in with a habit you people never heard of. Closing the goddamn door. No! Much better to face these kinds of things with a sense of poison rationality. We're going back to the PJs. Oh, PJs are back. PJs. And I got cute little bunny slippers. So cute. An all green sort of version would be cute, yeah. I'd have to look into that. I am completely down to add more model variations. Jeez, I did not break my foot. I have never broken my foot. What debauchery and lies do you spread? I have never broken my foot. Okay, King. Thank you so much for being there with me. We read all of it. I'm so happy. Let's go find someone to raid. Raiding. Oh. We're gonna go raid Kaisa. Kaisa. She is live with a hand cam, it looks like. Oh my gosh. So fun. Yes. Okay, let's go raid her. Start. Okay. Bye, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. And for being with me for the end of the book. We finished it. Yay! Oh, thank you for the headbands. Thank you so much for headbands. And I'm sorry you just got in here, Alex. I'm sorry. Posture check. I'm ready. I'm good. I got you. Thank you. I am going to do a socials, I promise. I was trying to look at a card earlier today. I don't know. I've got to figure it out. Thank you for the headbands. Good night, everybody. Good night. And I shall hydrate. Hold on. Oh, hydration. I'm nice and hydrated. Good night, everybody. Bye. Thanks for being here. Okay, have a good night. Have a good sleep, cheese. And bye, Joy. Bye. Yes. Copy the raid message. Make sure you've got it. Okay, goodbye. Thank you to Lou. Thank you again to Booba and to Benzo for the gifted subs. Thank you. Good night.